I'd like to share a thought with you folks. I happen to believe that the right to vote is the greatest privilege that Americans have, and it saddens me that 50% or less of our country votes. I think you need to be a legal voter. I think you need to be a registered voter and a U.S. citizen. But I want to share a thought with you because the media has turned our elections into a carnival and it divides us. And ultimately, this carnival is turning American citizens into the clowns. A buddy of mine wrote some words as to why he's voting, and he happens to be voting for Donald Trump. And this is what he said, and I'd like you to consider it. The moment someone says, "I can't believe you would vote for Trump," I simply reply, "I'm not voting for Trump. I'm voting for the First Amendment in freedom of speech. I'm voting for the Second Amendment in my right to defend my life and my family. I'm voting for the next Supreme Court justices to protect the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. I'm voting for the continued growth of my retirement accounts and reducing inflation so I can live out my life. I'm voting for a return of our troops from foreign countries and an end to America's involvement in foreign conflicts that we don't fight to win. I'm voting for the Electoral College and for the republic in which we live. I'm voting for police to be respected once again and to ensure law and order. I'm tired of criminals having a revolving door and being put back on the streets at the expense of law-abiding citizens. I'm voting for the continued appointment of federal judges who respect the Constitution and the Bill of Rights and the rule of law. I'm voting for keeping our jobs to remain in America and not be outsourced all over the world. You see, China and Mexico and other foreign countries compete against us, and some are even our enemies. I want made in the USA. I'm voting for secure borders and to have legal immigration. I'm voting for doing away with all the freedoms given to all of the illegals and not looking after the needs of the American citizens who have earned those freedoms. I'm voting for the military and the veterans who fought for this country to give the American people their freedom, and I'm voting for unborn babies that have a right to live. I'm voting for peace and progress in the Middle East. I'm voting to fight against human child trafficking. I'm voting for freedom of religion. I'm voting for the right to speak my opinion and not be censored. I'm voting for the return of teaching math, history, and science, reading and writing, instead of indoctrination of our children and pronouns. I'm not just voting for one person. I'm voting for the future of our country. I'm voting for my children and my grandchildren. I want to ensure their freedoms and their future. Who are you voting for? I think the contrast is startling. That gentleman's voting for Donald Trump. And I ask you to ask yourselves, what are you voting for? Thanks. It's just a random thought.